Welcome back to the Metabolic Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Steve Presciutti, and if you're here, you came to the right place. This is episode 25, the season finale, and I've saved something special for last. Before we dive in, I need to say something from the heart. This is our final episode of 2025, and as we approach the holidays, I want to pause and say thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your time. Thank you for questioning everything you've been told. Thank you for having the courage to think differently about your health. When I started this podcast, I had no idea if anyone would listen. I just knew the truth needed to be spoken, and here we are, 25 episodes later, and you've been with me every step of the way. That means more to me than you'll ever know. So from me and our entire team at BioSpark Health, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. May this season bring you warmth, connection, and abundant energy to enjoy it all. Now, let's talk about your grandmother. She cooked in lard, ate 3 square meals a day, never counted a macro in her life, had 6 healthy kids, lived to 94 without a single prescription medication. Her hands were warm, her energy was endless. Her doctor visits were once a year, just to say hello. Meanwhile, your generation is metabolically broken by 30. You're exhausted despite sleeping 9 hours. You're gaining weight on 1,200 calories. You're popping supplements like candy and still feeling terrible. You're following every new diet trend and getting sicker every year. What did she know that we forgot? Everything. Quick reminder before we continue. This podcast is for educational purposes only, not medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making changes. Now let's dive into the wisdom that saved our ancestors and might just save us. Here's what I want you to understand. We haven't evolved past our grandparents. We've devolved away from their wisdom. Every single thing we've covered in this podcast, everything that sounds radical or contrarian, everything that challenges modern nutritional dogma, your grandmother did instinctively, not because she read studies, not because she followed influencers, but because she trusted her body and followed traditions passed down through generations. She didn't avoid sugar. She put it in her coffee, baked pies for Sunday dinner, made jams and preserves with real sugar to last the winter. And somehow, diabetes was rare. She didn't fear salt. She preserved meat with it, salted her vegetables, kept a salt cellar on every table, and somehow, her blood pressure was fine. She didn't count protein grams. She ate eggs for breakfast, had modest portions of meat with dinner, and used every part of the animal. And somehow, she stayed strong well into her 80s. She didn't exercise obsessively. She walked everywhere, worked in her garden, kept a clean house. And somehow, her body stayed lean and capable. She didn't fast. She ate breakfast like a queen, lunch like a princess, and dinner with her family every single night. And somehow, her metabolism hummed along without fail. Every modern health rule we've invented contradicts how humans thrived for thousands of years. And now we have the audacity to wonder why we're all sick. I'm going to walk you through the traditional wisdom that our grandmothers understood, the science that proves they were right all along, and exactly how you can return to these principles in your own life. This isn't nostalgia. This isn't romanticizing the past. This is biochemistry, dressed in an apron. Let's start with how she ate meat. Your grandmother didn't just eat chicken breast. She would have laughed at the idea. The breast was just one part of a whole chicken that provided food for days. She made broth from the bones, slow-simmered for hours, sometimes overnight, extracting every bit of gelatin, every mineral, every healing compound. That broth became the base for soups, sauces, gravies. It was medicine and nourishment in every bowl. She ate the skin, crispy, delicious, loaded with glycine and collagen, not stripped off and thrown away like some kind of poison. She prized the organs, liver once a week because it builds blood, heart because it's good for yours, kidneys, sweetbreads, tongue. Nothing was wasted. Everything was honored. Here's what the science tells us. This nose-to-tail approach automatically optimized nutrition in ways our modern diets completely miss. Ray Peat explained this beautifully. He emphasized that muscle meats are high in amino acids like methionine, tryptophan, and cysteine. In excess, these can be stress-promoting and inflammatory. But when you balance them with glycine from gelatin, from bones, from skin, you create metabolic harmony. Traditional cultures understood this intuitively. For every portion of muscle meat, they consumed gelatin-rich foods that provided the counterbalance. The result was anti-inflammatory, gut-healing nutrition that modern protein obsession completely ignores. Today we eat chicken breast after chicken breast, lean beef, protein powder, all methionine, no glycine. We're creating amino acid imbalances that literally accelerate aging at the cellular level. Research on methionine restriction shows up to 40% lifespan extension in animals, yet we're pushing people to eat more and more of the very amino acids that speed up aging. Your grandmother's Sunday pot roast with bone broth gravy? It had the perfect balance. And let's talk about that bone broth specifically. Gelatin is perhaps the most underappreciated traditional food. It supports gut lining repair. It provides glycine for detoxification and sleep. It helps balance the stress response. It supports joint health and skin elasticity. Your grandmother kept a pot on the back of the stove. Today we buy expensive collagen supplements that deliver a fraction of what real bone broth provides. The solution is simple. Eat like your grandmother. Use the whole animal. Make broth from bones. Include skin and organs regularly. Balance your muscle meat with gelatin-rich foods. This isn't complicated. It's how humans ate for millennia. Now let's talk about what she cooked with. Your grandmother had a can of bacon grease next to her stove. She used lard for pie crusts, butter on everything, tallow for frying, schmaltz if she was of Eastern European descent, coconut oil if she lived in the tropics. She never touched canola oil because it didn't exist until 1978. She never used soybean oil because it was industrial waste until food companies figured out how to sell it to us. She never touched corn oil because it was for machinery, not humans. The fats she used were stable, saturated, safe for cooking at high temperatures. They didn't oxidize, they didn't create toxic aldehydes, they didn't incorporate into her cell membranes and interfere with cellular function. We've covered this extensively throughout the podcast. Polyunsaturated fats from industrial seed oils suppress thyroid function, promote inflammation, impair mitochondrial respiration, and literally poison your cells from the inside out. Ray Peat called fish oil an anti-metabolic poison because of how unsaturated fats suppress cellular energy production. Meanwhile, saturated fats are stable and can actually terminate the stress reaction by providing fuel without toxic byproducts. Your grandmother's lard wasn't killing her. It was protecting her. Her butter wasn't clogging her arteries. It was providing vitamins A, D, E, and K in their most bioavailable forms. Her tallow wasn't making her fat. It was giving her cells the stable building blocks they needed for healthy membranes. Here's the irony. We replaced these traditional fats with industrial seed oils in the name of heart health. And since then, heart disease has skyrocketed. Obesity has exploded. Metabolic dysfunction has become the norm rather than the exception. The Framingham Heart Study, the very research used to demonize saturated fat, actually showed that people who ate more saturated fat had less heart disease. But that finding was buried. It didn't fit the narrative. Coconut oil is particularly special in the bioenergetic tradition. It's rich in medium-chain saturated fats that are rapidly absorbed and burned for energy. It raises metabolic rate. It has antimicrobial effects in the gut that help reduce endotoxin. It supports thyroid function. Your grandmother in the Philippines or Thailand cooking everything in coconut oil? She was doing metabolic medicine. Your grandmother in Ireland cooking in butter? Same thing. Your grandmother in Texas using bacon drippings? Metabolically superior to anything we cook with today? The shift back is simple. Throw out your seed oils, all of them. Canola, corn, soybean, sunflower, safflower, vegetable oil, gone. Replace them with what your grandmother used. Butter, coconut oil, lard, tallow. Cook with these. Bake with these. Use olive oil sparingly, only for cold applications like salad dressing. If you're ready to implement this fully to detoxify from years of PUFA accumulation while restoring metabolic function, our bioenergetic reset program provides the complete roadmap. 6 weeks of guided transformation with meal plans, coaching, and community support. You can find that at biosparkhealth.com. Let's talk about when she ate. Your grandmother ate 3 square meals a day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner with the family, at the table, no screens, no rush, real food prepared with love, eaten with presence. She didn't skip breakfast to extend her fast. She woke up and ate eggs, bacon, toast with butter and jam, coffee with cream and sugar, a real meal that told her body the famine was over and it was safe to burn energy. She didn't wait until noon to eat because some podcast told her that's when her eating window opens. She nourished herself when she was hungry, which was when she woke up after 8 hours without food. Here's what modern science confirms. Eating breakfast suppresses the morning cortisol spike. It stimulates thyroid hormone production. It restores liver glycogen depleted overnight. It sets metabolic rate for the entire day. When you skip breakfast, you extend the overnight stress state. Cortisol stays elevated. Adrenaline compensates for low blood sugar. Your body stays in conservation mode, burning fewer calories, storing more fat, breaking down muscle for gluconeogenesis. Your grandmother's hearty breakfast wasn't making her fat. It was firing up her metabolism for the day. And lunch wasn't something she ate at her desk while answering emails. It was a real meal, often the largest of the day in many cultures. Soup to start because bone broth should be medicine we take daily, a main course with protein and vegetables, bread with butter, maybe a small dessert. Dinner brought the family together. It was social. It was calming. It was eaten at a reasonable hour, not at 9 p.m. after a long commute. And it often ended with something sweet because glucose before bed supports serotonin production and helps you sleep through the night. The intermittent fasting movement has convinced people that eating is somehow problematic, that giving your body fuel is something to be restricted and controlled, that ancient survival mechanisms like ketosis should be our primary mode of operation. But your grandmother understood something fundamental. Food is fuel. Food is nourishment. Food is love made tangible. Meals are how families connect, how cultures perpetuate, how bodies thrive. When you eat regular meals, your body doesn't panic. It doesn't conserve. It doesn't stress. It burns fuel efficiently because it knows more is coming. It produces energy abundantly because it has the resources to do so. The 3-meal structure worked because it supports human biology. Breakfast replenishes. Lunch sustains. Dinner repairs. The body knows this rhythm because it evolved with it over thousands of generations. I see this constantly in practice. People come to me destroyed from years of fasting, cold, exhausted, losing hair, gaining weight despite eating almost nothing. We restore 3 meals a day with snacks as needed, and suddenly everything shifts. Temperature rises, energy returns, weight normalizes, sleep improves, not because of any magic protocol, because they finally started eating like their grandmother did. Here's something else your grandmother understood that we've completely lost. Simplicity. She didn't eat exotic superfoods imported from 12 countries. She ate what grew locally, what was in season, what her family had always eaten. The same basic foods, prepared in time-tested ways, served with regularity and love. Her diet wasn't diverse in the modern sense. She wasn't eating acai bowls for breakfast, Buddha bowls for lunch, and Thai curry for dinner. She ate potatoes, a lot of potatoes, and she was fine. Here's why this matters. Your digestive system thrives on familiarity. Your gut bacteria adapt to the foods you eat regularly. Your enzymes calibrate to what you commonly consume. Constant novelty, constant variety, constant exotic ingredients. It's actually stressful for your digestive system. Traditional cultures understood this. They had staple foods, rice in Asia, potatoes in Ireland, corn in Mexico, bread in Europe. These weren't boring, they were foundations, the base upon which meals were built, providing reliable, easily digested fuel. The modern obsession with variety and superfoods has created confusion and dysfunction. People are eating 20 different plants a day, thinking it's healthy, while their guts ferment uncontrollably, producing endotoxin, causing bloating, creating inflammation. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes simple is superior, sometimes boring is best. Your grandmother's repetitive menu wasn't a limitation, it was wisdom. Her body knew exactly what to expect. Her digestion worked flawlessly. Her gut bacteria were stable and healthy. And can we talk about food preparation? She didn't eat raw kale salads. She cooked her vegetables, boiled, baked, roasted, simmered in broth. She knew that cooking makes food more digestible, reduces anti-nutrients, and improves nutrient absorption. Raw food movements have convinced people that cooking destroys nutrition. But your grandmother understood that we evolved cooking food. Our digestive systems are adapted to cooked food. Raw vegetables, especially cruciferous ones, can suppress thyroid function and feed problematic gut bacteria. She soaked her beans and grains before cooking. She fermented what needed fermenting. She prepared foods the way her mother taught her, who learned from her mother, who learned from hers. These weren't random rituals. They were food safety and nutrition optimization developed over centuries. Modern life has us grabbing whatever's convenient, eating things we can't pronounce, consuming ingredients that didn't exist 20 years ago. We've traded traditional wisdom for industrial convenience, and our health has paid the price. The path back is simple. Find your staple foods, the ones that agree with you, that you digest well, that satisfy you. Build your diet around these. Stop chasing the next superfood. Cook your vegetables. Prepare foods properly. Eat like your grandmother. Your grandmother lived in rhythm with nature in ways we've completely abandoned. She ate seasonally. Strawberries in summer, not January. Root vegetables in winter. Preserved foods when fresh wasn't available. Her body cycled through natural variations in food availability, never getting the same thing year-round. This mattered metabolically. Seasonal eating exposes us to different nutrients at different times. It gives our digestive systems natural breaks from certain foods. It aligns our physiology with environmental rhythms. She got morning sunlight, not from a light therapy box, but from being outside, hanging laundry, working in the garden, walking to the market. That sunlight set her circadian rhythm, boosted vitamin D production, stimulated healthy cortisol patterns. She went to bed when it got dark, not midnight, not after 3 hours of Netflix. But when the sun went down, she started winding down. She slept with the natural cycle, getting the deep restorative rest her body needed. Her temperature regulation was natural. She didn't live in a climate-controlled 72 degrees year-round. She experienced seasonal temperature variations that kept her metabolism flexible and responsive. She generated her own heat because she ate enough to fuel it. We've created artificial environments that completely disconnect us from natural rhythms. Constant light exposure, temperature-controlled everything, food from anywhere, anytime, and our bodies have lost their natural calibration. Your grandmother's daily rhythm supported her metabolic health, rising with the sun, eating real food at regular times, moving naturally throughout her day, winding down with family in the evening, sleeping in true darkness. We've replaced natural living with artificial simulation, blue light from screens at all hours, processed foods that bypass natural satiety signals, sedentary existence punctuated by punishing exercise. No wonder we're metabolically confused. The return to natural rhythms doesn't require moving to a farm. It means prioritizing morning light exposure, eating meals at consistent times, reducing artificial light after sunset, moving throughout the day rather than sitting and then exercising, honoring the body's need for rest. These were automatic for your grandmother. They require conscious effort for us, but the payoff is worth it. Here's what I want you to take from this episode. The finale of our first season. Everything we've covered over these 25 episodes, every myth we've busted, every truth we've revealed, every protocol we've shared, your grandmother did it all instinctively. Avoiding PUFAs? She cooked with butter and lard because that's what was available and affordable. Eating sugar? She made desserts, preserved fruits, put honey in tea, and didn't fear sweetness. Using salt generously? She salted everything, preserved with salt, kept a salt cellar on every table. Moderate protein? She ate nose to tail, balanced muscle meats with gelatin, and didn't obsess over grams. Regular meals, 3 squares a day, with the family without fail, gentle movement, walking, gardening, housework, not punishing exercise routines. Breathing properly? She lived actively, kept moving, didn't hyperventilate through chronic stress. Optimizing light, morning sun, evening rest, true darkness for sleep, supporting fertility. She nourished herself abundantly through pregnancy and raised healthy children, healing generationally. She passed on traditions, fed her family well, created metabolic resilience for generations. She did all of this without reading a single study. without following a single influencer, without counting a single calorie or macro or step, because she trusted her body, because she followed traditions, because she understood that humans had thrived for thousands of years before we started optimizing ourselves into dysfunction. Here's the truth that brings this all together. The revolution isn't moving forward into complexity. It's remembering back to simplicity. Every complicated protocol, every expensive supplement, every cutting-edge biohack, they're all trying to recreate what your grandmother did naturally. We're spending billions of dollars to get back to where we started. You don't need more information. You need less interference. You don't need a new diet. You need to return to real food. You don't need another protocol. You need to trust your body. Eat when you're hungry. Rest when you're tired. Move because it feels good. Enjoy your food without guilt. Share meals with people you love. Sleep when it's dark. Live in rhythm with nature. This is the metabolic revolution. Not some futuristic optimization scheme, but a return to the wisdom that sustained humanity for millennia. The wisdom that lives in your bones, in your cells, in the deepest parts of your being. And your grandmother was right about all of it. And now you know why. If you're ready to implement everything we've covered this season, if you want guided support as you return to these principles, our bioenergetic reset program is the complete transformation experience. 6 weeks of coaching, community, and customized protocols designed to restore your metabolic health from the ground up. Not by doing something new, but by returning to what always worked. Visit biosparkhealth.com to learn more. As we close out 2025, I want to wish you the warmest of holidays. Take these next couple of weeks to rest, to recover, to enjoy time with family and friends. Eat the Christmas cookies, drink the eggnog, be present with the people you love. We'll be taking a short break ourselves, but we have big plans for Season 2 in 2026. New topics, deeper dives, more transformations. The revolution continues. Thank you for being on this journey with me. Thank you for trusting the process. Thank you for having the courage to question everything and the wisdom to return to what works. You came to the right place. Your body has the answers. Trust it. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. And as always, this is Dr. Steve Presciutti reminding you, your grandmother was right about everything. Let's talk.